What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and I'm back with another Unearthed Arcana review, and I want to call it out first. I called it yesterday, or earlier today, depending on when you watch the video. When I did my weekly update, I said I think the next two Unearthed Arcanas, while we're still in the monthly cycle, are going to be a new one about feats, and a new one about new armor and weapons. So far, I'm 1 for 1 at the moment. This entire Unearthed Arcana is all about new feats. I'm very excited for this one, as this is something I think was desperately needed, and it does a lot about giving you feats that boost your stats, but also give you cool options. So, without further ado, let's jump in. So, there is one for every skill. Each one is going to give you a +1 to the corresponding stat. Proficiency in the skill. If you already have proficiency, it's going to grant you expertise, and then also a third thing. So, first off, we've got Acrobat. +1 dexterity. Proficiency in acrobatics. I'm going to kind of skip over most of this, but because it's going to be +1 to the stat, proficiency, in this case in acrobatics, and expertise if you already have it. But the big thing is, as a bonus action, you can make a DC 15 Dex acrobatics check. If you succeed, difficult terrain doesn't cost you extra movement until the end of your current turn. Animal handler, wisdom, expertise. You can use a bonus action on your turn to command one friendly beast within 60 feet of you that you can hear, or that can hear you, and isn't currently following the command of someone else. You decide now what action the beast will take and where it will move during its turn, or you issue a general command that lasts for 1 minute, such as guard a particular area. Some of these, like Arcanist, I think are great. Arcanist, your intelligence goes up by 1, proficiency or expertise. However, this one gives you prestidigitation as the cantrip, and detect magic once per long rest. Without expending a spell slot, it's just a freebie. Brawny, +1 to strength, proficiency athletics. You count as one size larger for the purposes of determining your carrying capacity. So, if you're some sort of character class that has already got powerful build, you are now 2 sizes larger, so it's essentially quadruple what you would have had originally. Diplomat, charisma, expertise. Spend 1 minute talking to someone who can understand what you say. You can make a persuasion check versus their insight. If your companions are fighting the creature, your check automatically fails. If your check succeeds, they're charmed for you as long as you remain within 60 feet of them for a minute. Empathic, +1 wisdom, expertise, insight. You can use your action to try to get an uncanny sight about one humanoid you can see within 30 feet. Make an insight check contested by their deception. If your check succeeds, you have advantage on all attack rolls and ability checks against the target until the end of your next turn. Historian is intelligence, and history, +1 intelligence and history. When you take the help action to aid another creature's ability check, you can make a DC 15 history check. On that success, creatures' checks gain a bonus equal to your proficiency bonus as you share your pertinent information, or pertinent advice and historical examples. To receive this bonus, the creature must be able to understand what you're saying. This is particularly helpful for classes that get to use help as a bonus action. What comes to mind is the Mastermind Rogue. Let your help as a bonus action out to 30 feet. That's pretty big. Investigator, +1 intelligence and proficiency in investigation. And you can use this search action as a bonus action. This doesn't come up too often, but in combat, being able to look as a bonus action would be pretty good because you're trying to search something out. In the craziness of combat, you're going to need to take an action normally to do that. Medic is +1 wisdom, proficiency in medicine. This is also a really nice one during a short rest, which makes medicine, again, I think more useful. During a short rest, you can clean and bind the wounds of up to 6 willing beasts and humanoids. Make a DC 15 wisdom check for each creature. On a success, the creature spends a hit die during this rest. They can forgo the roll and instead regain the maximum number of hit points for the die can restore. The creature can only do this once per rest, regardless of how many hit dies they spend. Menacing is a +1 to your charisma and expertise and intimidation. When you take the attack on your turn, you can replace one of the attacks with an attempt to demoralize one humanoid you can see within 30 feet. Make an intimidation check offset by their insight check. Target succeeds, if the check succeeds, the target is frightened until the end of your next turn. If they fail, they can't be targeted by this for an hour. Naturalist, +1 intelligence, proficiency nature. Druidcraft is a spell and detect poison and disease once per long rest without expending a spell slot. Perceptive, +1 in wisdom, and proficiency and perception, and being in a lightly obscured area doesn't impose disadvantage on your perception checks if you can both see and hear. I like this one. I think this is nice because it finally gives you a +1 wisdom that won't be observant. Granted, a flat +5 is nice, but this is almost as nice to give you advantage or expertise in your perception checks, as well as the bonus for helping you to avoid lightly obscured disadvantage. Performer, +1 charisma, proficiency in performance. While performing, you can try to distract one humanoid you can see, who can see and hear you, rather. Make a performance check offset by their wisdom. If your check succeeds, you grab the humanoid's attention enough that it makes perception and investigation checks with disadvantage until you stop performing. Quick Finger, Dex +1, Sleight of Hand. As a bonus action, you can make a Sleight of Hand check to plant something on someone else, conceal an object on a creature, lift a purse, or take something from a pocket. Silver-Tongued, Deception, +1 Charisma. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one attack with an attempt to deceive one humanoid who can see you within 30 feet of you and can hear you. Make a deception check offset by their wisdom, insight. If your check succeeds, your movement doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity from the target, and your rolls against it have advantage. Both benefits last until the end of your next turn, or until you use this ability on a different creature. If your check fails, the target can be deceived, or can't be deceived by this in this way for 1 hour. I like this. I like Silver-Tongued, and I like Menacing a lot. Stealthy, increased dex, proficiency in stealth. If you're hidden, you can move up to 10 feet in the open without revealing yourself if you end the move in a position where you're not clearly visible. Survivalist is +1 wisdom, proficiency survival, and alarm once without using a slot. It's weird because this one doesn't have a cantrip, it's just alarm. Granted, useful. And then Theologian, +1 intelligence, proficiency in religion. You learn the thaumaturgy cantrip and detect good and evil spells once per long rest without wasting a slot. And that, my friends, is all of the new feats. I think these are great. I think that they may want, if I were you guys, as much fun as it would be to use the other feats like the Warhammer Mastery, Blade Mastery, all of those, they give you a +1 to the attack roll with the weapons. That sort of breaks the whole point of 5th edition having the minimal bonuses on attacks, so that your AC doesn't have to be ungodly. I would recommend, personally, if I was using them, to change the stats there so that the weapon mastery feats provide you, similar to these and the tools, a +1 to strength or dexterity depending on the weapon, or both. As opposed to a +1 when using one of those weapons. I think it fits the theme a little bit more, and it's a little bit more balanced. But between those and these, I think you've got a great plethora for anybody who's got one odd stat and is looking to bump it up. For instance, I know Avelios, my character in Storm King's Thunder, has a 15 dexterity. He's probably going to be wearing plate mail soon. So maybe I would want expertise because he's already proficient in stealth. Expertise to help offset the fact that I'm probably going to be making all those checks at disadvantage. Or, maybe I go for Acrobat. Or Sleight of Hand. He wants to be a thief, so that could be something. Or, if you choose to switch up the weapon mastery ones to add the +1 strength or dex, maybe he'll go that route. But anyway, guys, I've rambled for a little bit here. Let me know what you guys think of these new feats in the description below. I think they're sorely needed. I like to see feats that boost your skills, but some of them even grant you a couple of spells. And the spells they give you are super fun RP-wise, like Prestidigitation, Druidcraft, and Thaumaturgy. Also, Alarm, very useful when needed. Once a day is really all you need in an alarm spell, so that makes sense. Let me know what you think the last week of the weekly Unearthed Arcana releases is going to be. I'm still holding out for new weapons and new armor, basically equipment bonuses. Because they've done a lot with classes, they've done downtime, they've done traps, they've done mass combat, they've done feats. And they did starter spells as well, so I feel like this is really the opportunity for them to do that. But let me know what you guys think. I'm curious. Do you think I'm far off base thinking new equipment? I sorely would hope for an arms and equipment guide for 5e to have cool other magic items, as well as mundane items. but I guess we'll see. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.